everybody. I feel like things are a little bit wonky here, and I probably don't need this in my ear. How is everybody doing this weekend? I know we're at a weird time again, so I am definitely going to give people some time to see that we are even on, if it even happens. I feel very poopy. But yesterday so usually it's the week before Thanksgiving in the US. Sometimes it's the week after Thanksgiving, but my family for about, I'm guessing 29 years, we do a big cookie day. Hello, everybody coming in. My family did not celebrate Christmas after I was in 5th grade. And so Thanksgiving was actually a huge holiday for us. It was really the only holiday that we celebrated. And so it even as it progressed, I know for the second chunk of kids of my family, that was even where we exchanged gifts and all that kind of stuff. So Thanksgiving's has always, since again I was about 5th grade, Thanksgiving has the same level of holidayness as Christmas does for a lot of people. My kids really were, they really lucked out with that because they had 2 really big holidays that they celebrated. But so what we would always do the Saturday before Thanksgiving was a huge cookie day. And adults dread it because it is exhausting and children are just stoked for it. We used to do a lot more. We hand make cookie dough and then roll up to, I think our highest was up to about 1,000. We always tried to push for the 900 to 1,000 cookies made, rolled, baked, and frosted all in the same day. So it's just chaos, right? Lots of kids running around high on cookies and sugar, and lots of sugar and sprinkles everywhere. So absolute insanity. Now this year was actually really small. It was kind of a little bit sad. We just had some people that couldn't make it from out of town, and we were just in a bit of a lull space. So it was kind of sad because it was small, but on the other hand, for the adults, it was kind of like relaxing. So, and I had to teach a class yesterday, so I got out of most of the baking and just had to do the frosting. So, I'm not sad about it. In fact, my sister and I have 3 sisters, and the oldest of my 3 sisters, just because the other 2 are a lot younger than me. I was 17 and 19 when my 2 youngest sisters were born. But my other sister, who's 12 years younger than me, she's like, I think we're done. Like, I think that we need to just hand this over to the nieces and the younger siblings that have little kids, because we don't have little kids anymore, and make them make the cookie dough and all that. So we want to hand the whole torch over to them next year and just come and enjoy. So anyways, that was yesterday. And so that is why, hello, Hanaconda. That is why we are doing this again on Sunday. It's the holidays, folks. We got to roll with the holidays. So Sherry says, our family used to make a big deal of Thanksgiving, but it's now dwindled down. It is sad, isn't it? It tends to be lulls because we did have a big gap. So my family, same parents. So this isn't like a blended family, but my family had my older brother, myself. Then there was 6 years, and I have a brother who was an oops baby. And then there was another 6 years. And then my parents got saved into a more fundamental religion in which God was going to, give them however many children they need. And it was like 4 in a row. So there's a big gap in kids. And then also of course, grandkids. My son was only 2 years. My son and another niece of mine are only 2 years younger than their aunt. So there's a gap between when those little ones, those younger chunk of kids, start to have their kids. So we've got some like gaps in the ages of grandkids and all that kind of stuff. So there's periods in which you get lulls and all that kind of stuff. But it is kind of sad when you have a really big family, and it's kind of weird when you have a bit of a slower I think his grandkids are now in college and, married or maybe with their own, having to do other things. And so it's just kind of funny to see family dynamics shift and change over holidays. Our actual holidays are still big because even our most minimum of people coming is going to be in the 20s. So it's small for us, but not necessarily small for somebody else. Um, Anyways, hello to everybody coming in. Hello, hello, hello. Miss Nikki is here in Hanaconda to keep things copacetic, as they say. I don't know what language that comes from and if that's even a real word, but I'm going to use it anyways. So I thought, now I know everybody, and in fact, there's probably a good 50-50. I don't know. But I know there's a lot of people who are not in the United States. However, I'm in the United States, and this is Thanksgiving weekend or week. And as I've said, in my family, Thanksgiving's a big deal. It's just as big of a deal as Christmas. And I also know that Thanksgiving is got a very problematic history in terms of indigenous peoples. But it is today, in a modern sense, it really, and it's certainly in my family, it is a time to come together and have a meal all together, eating meals with, we've talked about this before in folk magic. There is a powerful magic in coming together with your family and your friends and sharing a meal and people bringing dishes. And, it is a beautiful, it can be a very beautiful holiday. As with all holidays, they're also very problematic, right? Because sometimes we don't have really good family histories, or we don't have that family unit. And so there can be a lot of loneliness around the holidays. If you, like myself, have lost somebody close, holidays are really difficult because there's so much energy built into those days, so many years of joy and so many years of heartbreak. And so it can be really complicated. I think that's probably the best term for way to talk about holidays, is that it's so complicated because of family dynamics, because of people who we've lost. For so many different reasons, holidays can be really supercharged with emotions. However, I do love Thanksgiving. In my family, it's the cookie day before. So the week Saturday before is cookie day. Thursday, which is when Thursday is when Thanksgiving is. Everybody comes together. All of the food is split up. Everybody brings different food. I always bring the pumpkin pies. I am the pumpkin pie queen. Thank you very much. I do particularly love my pumpkin pie recipe, which is a little more spicy than the average pumpkin pie. And so I always bring the pumpkin pies and green bean casserole, because what Thanksgiving, I'm sure that the pilgrims and the indigenous people of the world came together and ate green bean casserole. But it is now a staple in many American Thanksgiving meals. But so that's my job, is the pumpkin pie, very important pumpkin pies, and the green bean casserole. And then we stay and look at the newspaper and go Black Friday shopping, because they all start to open up late on Thursday night. And all the girls, so my sisters, my niece, and my daughter, we all get together and go Black Friday shopping. So that's pretty much on Thursday night. And then I come home and take down my Christmas tree on Thanksgiving. Or no, that's Christmas. I'm jumping to Christmas. I usually put up my Christmas tree on Thanksgiving, but I already have my Christmas tree up. So anyways, that's a rundown of Thanksgiving in my family. And so I thought, even though, of course, it's complicated, as we just talked about, even though not everybody celebrates it across the world, I still think we can use this hour on Thanksgiving weekend to think about the things that we are thankful for. Because I know that with all holidays, obviously the reason for the season and everything is so commercialized. But one of the things that I found about holidays, so if you're new to my channel and don't know my backstory, when I was in 5th grade, my parents became fundamental Christian, so very extreme end of Christianity. And so all holidays, except for Thanksgiving, ceased. Wearing pants ceased, going to movies, music. It was like a pretty huge shift for somebody who didn't grow up in a super religious household. So I think because of that, holidays are something that I absolutely, once I was old enough and got married and had my own children, holidays became super big deal for me. I love Christmas. I love the spirit of Christmas. I love Thanksgiving. I'm not a huge fan of Easter. It's like Easter's okay, but Thanksgiving and Halloween, Thanksgiving, the trifecta of fall and winter are favorite seasons for me. And I do think that even though the commercialization is 1,000% there, that we can reclaim those things and do our own family things and still find joy in those days, and reclaiming that and really enjoying those things for ourselves. Sometimes it's reclaiming it from bad family history. Sometimes it's reclaiming it from commercialism. Sometimes it's reclaiming it from, loss that have kind of put a damper on the holidays. And so you have to do that work to try to bring that back and reclaim it if it's important. But I do think that we can have the joys of traditions and claim those holidays despite commercialization, despite sketchy histories of way holidays start. And I think we can still enjoy them. I certainly choose to do so. So I'm going to scroll back up here and see. Sherry says, I'm grateful that I can pass down some traditional memories to my kids. They really love how I make a big deal out of it. I love to decorate and really dress up the gifts for my kids. That is amazing. Hello again to everybody coming on. We are talking about what the things that we are thankful. It doesn't have to be holiday related, but what are, I think it can get, I think I got off on a rabbit trail, but I think that it's easy to say, okay, well, let's list what we're thankful for. And I think it can get a little bit cliched, but I think pausing to think about the things that we do have and the things that do make us grateful for being on this earth is an important thing. It's a good thing. It's not a fluffy thing. It's a good, solid thing to sort of ground ourselves in the things that we do love about life and about the way that we are on this planet and the things that we love about it. So it doesn't have to be about family, and it doesn't have to be about holidays. Just the things that you are grateful about, I think, is a wonderful way to spend some time this week. Holly is thankful and / grateful for the simple things: good health, a warm home life, my loving family, and the goodness in this world. That's a beautiful sentiment and a deep sentiment, and I 100% agree. Barry Wren, grateful for life. Life is a gift. It truly is. I think that that's one of the powerful things that loss teaches us, right? I know there are many people out there who have lost loved ones, and holidays, as I said, are really complicated because of those mixed feelings and those mixed emotions. But the fact of the matter is that my son was chronically ill, so he was ill for 23 years and then passed away. Even just a chronic illness, but certainly the death part does teach you how very fragile life is and to treasure it, that it is fragile and it is beautiful, and it is something that we should pay attention to, the fact that we have this life to live, and how are we going to utilize it and be thankful is so important. So I think that is beautiful, Fairy Wren, and I completely agree. Apparently Sherry's family, some extended family, are a bit of a bah humbug. I just ignore those people. I haven't seen that, Hanaconda. Hanaconda said the decade post thing going around these days has made me so grateful that my life is almost unrecognizable from 10 years ago. So gratefulness for the changes that you've worked hard to make, it sounds like, Hanaconda, which is an amazing thing. It's amazing to be able to see that, because we don't always see that, does it? We don't. sometimes we don't stop to see what was our life X number of years ago and what are the things about how many changes have we. We might feel like we're stuck. We might feel like we're not getting anywhere. But if we really take the time to look, and maybe we can see the ways in which we actually have done some work to change. The last 10 years for me have been mixed bag, right? Obviously, I lost my son, which was not a good, in a lot of that 10-year, half of that 10-year slice or so, has been, grief, work and stuff. But before that, I ended a 23-year-long marriage that was not abusive, but it was not fabulous to be in, and that sense of freedom that comes with that, the sense of ownership of life that comes after making such a big change. I hear you with the Anaconda. It's pretty powerful when we can look back and see those moments where we might take control of our own life and take control of our own future, and that's very empowering to see. So I love that. So Anaconda's like, she's like, I have owned this 10 years. I love to see that. Miss Veronica says, I'm in a golden spot right now, and I'm grateful for the awareness to appreciate it fully while I can. And I think Veronica brings up a really good point that sometimes we can't see it, right? Sometimes it's difficult. Of course, one of the biggest lessons in life is trying to figure out how can we see the things to be grateful for, even when things are pretty crappy. That's a skill set that is an ongoing lesson, right, that we learn. But I love that in those moments when you can, if that's something that you struggle with, in the moments when you can, taking that opportunity to be able to see it might help to get through when things are a little bit harder to see. And I'm wondering if things like, and again, we're just chatting because it's it's our topic of the day. I wonder if things like making art projects like a gratefulness board, or even some type of those, a lot of people do like great things you're grateful for, journals or entries like that you can look back on when things are more difficult. I don't know. I probably would. I don't know. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but it's something to think about, ways in which we can extend that when we can see into when it's harder to see. Tammy says, I'm grateful for all the life lessons as they are teaching what I want and don't want. And sometimes knowing what we don't want is a huge step towards moving towards what we do want, doesn't it? Doesn't it, Tammy? I think that's important. I found in a lot of things, even like what we believe in, for a long time, I used to get frustrated with myself because I knew what I didn't believe more than what I did believe. But at the same time, now when I look back, because it used to irritate me, it's like, it seems like such a negative thing to know I don't believe in this, but I don't really know exactly what I do believe in. But I think that in the end, when I look back, that figuring out what I didn't believe gave me the space to start to fill in with what I find that I do believe. That's very bad. That's a bad sentence structure, but hopefully that makes sense. So I do think it's important to know what we don't want, know what we don't believe, because it can give us that space then to be able to find the things that we do want and that we do, or that we do believe. So I like that. That's beautiful. Patsy says, I'm thankful for my sight. Even though I have eye issues that cause me lots of problems, at least you can still see. That's a beautiful thing. Anna Teresa said, I love how your name is in your thing now, Anna Teresa, so people don't know who I'm talking, or people know who I'm talking about. I'm grateful, thankful for family and friends, this community that has given me a voice and helped me to see that we are all unique, and that is what makes the world such a beautiful place. Yes, uniqueness is, we do not have to all be the same to be thankful for each other and to learn for each other. I definitely agree with that. Let's see. If I miss one, please just repeat it with my name in capital letters. I don't want to miss it, but sometimes things scroll while I'm talking and I do miss things. So I apologize. It is not intentional. Let's see. Nina says, hello, Miss Nina. This may sound weird to folks, but after learning of the water experiments by Masaru Emoto, I started making gratitude water that I drink every morning to set a vibe of thankfulness each day. I don't know what the water experiments by Masaru Emoto is, so I have no clue. But I love this intention of making a water or making a tea or anything that we do that ritualizes thankfulness, because no matter what it is that you're doing every morning, when you do that, you're setting that intention for yourself for the day. So I don't think that that sounds weird whatsoever. I love it. Let me scroll back here. I saw another one. Tammy says, I write an accomplishment. I like that, accomplishment. That sounds very like a definitive accomplishment journey, because I have depression and anxiety and can be very hard on myself, and it allows me to celebrate the little things and reminds you of those things, because it's so hard to see, right? It is so hard to see the things that we've actually accomplished when we're in those places where we are not seeing ourselves through very good lenses. So that's fantastic that that works for you. Nina said that he observed that water observes the vibration of our emotions, like hate makes angry water and love makes beautiful water. He observed this in frozen crystal. Oh, I'll have to look up his work. I'm gonna try to. I know I'm not gonna. Here we go. I'm going to grab his name, trying, search Google there, and then I just leave that up as a tab so I can look it up. That sounds really interesting. Nikki put some kind of a link up. I'm not sure what it is. Flamboyant clairvoyant. That's fair. Flamboyant clairvoyant says, I turn water into coffee every morning, and boy, does that make me thankful. Hey, that is alchemy at its finest, flamboyant clairvoyant. Let's see. We have Bunny Kisses says, I'm grateful for my job, and although it's mundane, it provides me the opportunity to do things I want to do. Without it, things are very different. High five. I have this conversation a lot with my daughter as she was growing up and, having to be the adult, and she's a hard worker, but we do every so often have this conversation that, her job that she's doing may not be like exciting or be anything really to do with what she's passionate about, but it's a job that pays her bills, and it allows her to then make use of her time outside of her job doing the things, if she chooses to, doing the things that she isn't passionate about. So those jobs are certainly things to be thankful for. Very lovely point there. Lissa is friggin' grateful, love it, friggin' grateful for everything. She loves growing and discovering life every day, the good and the bad. She just loves it all. Give me all of the messy, wonderful life. Or that's what it sounds like to me, which is amazing. First link is a water crystal oracle. I don't know. Christina is grateful that her schizophrenic son is in remission. I am very grateful with you with that. That must be a huge relief off your shoulders, a time to breathe for a moment. And so I'm so glad that you have that. And Teresa says, I always see those jobs as investment into what I'm passionate. Yes, I think that's the mindset that we sometimes, because I do think, and this is something I'm probably, do myself. I do think that we do have a mindset towards trying to be able to do the things that we are passionate about, because what's the point? Like, do we want to be stuck, let's say, in a grinding kind of job that wears away at our very soul? And I think no, we don't want to be in a job that is literally grinding away our soul. That's I think that's on this end of the spectrum, and over here is I'm doing the job that I'm super passionate about. Trust me, that has grind in it as well. Like any job that we have to do over and over again has a degree of that, but that's still way better than our soul grinding job. But a lot of those jobs that are in the middle, that are just jobs that we do because we need to pay the bills, we need to put food on the table, and it does allow us to then, if we use our time and money right, it allows us to do things we're passionate about. So sometimes it's not always about finding that perfect passion filled job, but it's about finding a job that we can comfortable in, that is going to do what we need it to do. I still am not a big fan of being stuck an entire lifetime in a soul grinding job. I don't think that's very healthy. Life is too short. Okay, let's see. I'm sure I missed something while I'm rambling. It's hard. It's so hard to scroll back. So if I missed something, please, 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 please don't hesitate to restate it, because it just means it's difficult to scroll back and find things that I've missed. That's all it means. Hello, Healing Days, and everybody that's come on. I'm grateful. Let's see. I think Hannah, I think I've missed gaps in your in your story, which means I'm gonna have to go back and watch and look at it, because I'm very much interested. But she said her troubled teenage daughter is now my son. He has BPD and is so effective, doing well these days. Was in the hospital. That is a relief for mamas. Yes, I think she's talking to Christina, and it's got to be a relief there. Magic Words is grateful for finally finding a job that fits who I am. I've been at it for 2.5 years, and it's amazing. I am very grateful for you that you were able to find that. And sometimes it's just that we have to be in the ones for a while, and it doesn't mean that we're going to be there forever, but it's a good place to be right now. I do think that, because I obviously as a reader, you get a lot of questions about jobs, and sometimes we can't be quite so cut and dry. Like, this is the worst job ever. This is this job. Here's this job over here that might get me over to this job that I really, really want. And sometimes we've got to work with the jobs that are getting us where we need to go down the road. There's sometimes paths there. So, but it must be amazing to find that one, right, and kind of get to that point. So, I am glad that you have found that. Claire says, I love seeing my daughters growing. They are still little 8 and 7-year-olds, but the things they say make me realize they're definitely grown little kids. I remember 3 years and younger. Yeah, it's kids, you know how I feel about that. I'm not going to go to the weepy stage, but it goes so fast, folks. Children grow up so fast. Enjoy it. Take the time for it. Take all the time that you can for children, because I know it's a cliche that parents say it goes so fast, but the fact of the matter is it goes so fast. So enjoy it. Enjoy it. Hello, Miss Jamie and Soren. We are just talking because it is Thanksgiving week in the United States, and we've already covered. It has a complicated history and is a complicated holidays for everybody, but we are still taking time to think about the things that we are grateful for, because it's always good to reroute ourselves sometimes into the things that we're grateful. I'm really, what I'm enjoying, and thankfully my daughter, she watches some of my videos, but she doesn't tend to watch like live chats or anything like that. She's in the midst of a new romance, and it's really cute. I have to say, it's really life affirming to watch two people sort of getting to know each other, and the kind of giggly, gooey, lovey-dovey that we kind of sometimes make fun of, right? Oh, this is all that puppy love stuff. But to watch two people like exploring and getting to know each other is a treat. And to see that period of joy and happiness has been really cute for me. I've greatly enjoyed it. Just to see. That's not an area she's had a lot of joy in, and so to see her being able to be all ooey gooey is a lot of fun. We got to go this past week she's going to a ball with her new beau, and so we had to get the whole formal dress, and it was a lot of fun. So that, ooey gooey, cheesy, puppy love, fun to watch. I have greatly been enjoying that. It has lifted my holiday spirits. um I know love is such a thing to be, and it's so sad to me that words like thankfulness, words like love, words like hope, that's a big one, and I'm a huge, I'm guilty of killing off the word hope, but there are some words that are so powerful that I feel like we've almost killed these wonderful words, or diminished them because, we love tacos and we love, Coke Zero, and we, oh, great. So, one more great gratitude journal or post about gratitude or thankfulness, and we kind of kill off some of these powerful words. And I found that a lot, when you're doing readings and certain cards come up that I'm guilty of it with a star card, where it's just kind of like, oh yeah, it's the star card. Everybody's happy to see the star card. But it's a deep and powerful thing, this idea of hope and faith and trusting ourselves that we can navigate our way forward is huge. Or the Six of Cups, which I did a whole video on. Like, I do think that we kind of, a society has kind of squelched, that's a word. Squelched is not a word. Squelched probably is a word. Some of these powerful words, so that we just say, oh, I'm thankful for love. Well, yeah, no, but really, like, love is a powerful, in my class that I'm teaching right now, we've been talking about the Winter Rose by Patricia McKillop, and I highly recommend that everybody read it. But we were talking about it yesterday, how, at the heart of it, what anchors the human world in that book is that power of love, and love only occurs when it brings with it that sense of vulnerability, and that, but it's a powerful, it's a very powerful thing, and yet we kind of minimize it by all the silly things that we love or hate. Hate's a powerful word, and we use that, misuse that. My kids were not allowed to use hate lightly. Not that they couldn't use it, but they weren't like, do you really hate green beans, Michael? Do you really hate green beans? So using words well. Anyways, that was ramble. Lissa says, I got married 6 months ago after 60. Oh, congratulations, Lissa. I'm sure you're grateful for that. For sure, and I'm sure I've missed things. My daughter's almost on 1 year with her boyfriend. I have mixed feelings. I might have mixed feelings in a year, Sherry, but right now I'm enjoying just watching the ooey gooiness. I have to say another, or let's see. Let me scroll back here. Let me catch up before I roll off. If these days you say you're looking for love, people think you're freaking naive. Yeah, I know. That's so sad. Isn't that so sad? Yeah, I think that's really sad that it is somehow kind of looked down upon to be searching for love and connection, when I think that's a very real human emotion. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't think we should be being functioning, well-rounded, enjoying life adults without that, but it's to look our nose down at the fact that that's what we are looking for is it's a sad thing, in my opinion. Soren says, or like how triggers being misused to be offended when, yeah, and Soren brings up a good point that it's not only a sad thing that we minimize words, but it can be a dangerous thing when we minimize things, that when there are very real problems, and we can minimize those for sure. I'm thankful for language, right? It's complicated, and clearly I have issues with pronunciation, but language is amazing, and we want to obviously keep it that way. So yes, I was gonna say something. I was gonna run off on a rabbit trail. Oh, I want to say a silly thing that I'm actually really thankful for right now. And this is so bad because it's such commercialization, but I'm really thankful for Disney Plus right. I have had so much fun. This is a bad time of year for me. You all know this, right? This is bad timing for memories and things like that with my son. So it's a rough time of year. Disney Plus has been amazing. I watched Pollyanna. I got to rewatch The Apple Dumpling Gang. I got to rewatch Bedknobs and Broomsticks, bobbing along, singing a song at the bottom of the beautiful briny sea. I love that. Um, I have loved it. And it's probably just, because again, timing. So being able to go back and watch a lot of these old movies has been really a joy. I have enjoyed it, even if it is commercialization at its height. And Disney is problematic, but I love it. um, Kids are going through withdrawals for the downgrading cable. I was talking to a couple people like that. Like I don't know very many people anymore that actually have cable. I don't have cable. I haven't since I moved out on my own and had to finance my life myself. But I found we have Netflix. My daughter, one of us pays for Netflix and one of us pays for Hulu, and we can share it. We can both log into it, and then of course, if you have Amazon Prime, you get access to things at Amazon Prime. Between those three things, we tend to find the things that we need or enough things to watch. That's for sure. But we are both massively enjoying. Well, see, we're huge Star Wars fans, so we would have gotten Disney Plus anyways for the new Mandalorian series that's on Disney. But all those old films I'm enjoying them so much. My weird, I don't know. That's a conversation I'm not involved in, so I'm not going to jump in. But Claire has somebody who's been dating the same guy for 51 years. That's not strange. Why is it strange? I mean, they're together. They just didn't get married, but it sounds like they're together. I'm not sure, but again, I'm not going to insert myself into. I don't know what else the conversation's been. TV is becoming like obsolete. I have it mostly for my son. Actually, my daughter doesn't even really watch either. It says their family is one that does have cable because apparently I think her husband would say that he's grateful for his 14,000 million sports channels. Everybody's got their thing. I'm sure Netflix leaves me so stressed. October's, guys, I don't even know where to start. I was going to say, why are we stressed about Netflix? I don't understand. Christina says, will you be using a special deck this season? That is an excellent question, Christina, and shows you've been around for a while. I do. The funny thing is I was just looking at that before I came on here. I do normally get a deck that tends to be a supportive deck that I use through December. Last year it was actually the John Bauer Tarot. I think the year before that it was the Enchanted. I think it was the Magical Times one the year before. Anyways, I do tend to get a deck that is just my December deck that gets me through December. I have a couple that I'm considering. I also do have a combo. It was a Kickstarter deck. I keep forgetting it's an animal deck. It's, I think, Arc Animals or something to do with Arc and animals that is coming this week. So but that's like a tarot and an oracle, and it's all animals. So I don't know if I'm feeling. I might wait and see what I feel about that one. But it's usually a very support. Oh, it was the Idiosyncra tarot deck one year. So it's usually just a deck that gets me through December. And because I do tend to do a lot of just 3-card refocus, refocus cards, readings for myself in December. And so I was just looking through. I'm drawn to, because there's usually something I'm really drawn to, and I'm drawn to something ocean themed, but I haven't really found Oracle deck. I tend to like Oracle decks, so that it can be a tarot deck, but I haven't really found something ocean themed that has yet. I just started kind of looking earlier. There's another one too, the Foxfire Oracle deck with Kitsune foxes. That one for some reason is calling out too. So right now I'm kind of like, is there some kind of a watery, oceany Oracle deck that calls my name? I haven't found it yet. If you have any recommendations for watery, oceany decks, that's kind of where my instinct is calling me. So anyways, but thank you for asking, Christina. I will let you know if I find it. Yeah, I agree, Soren. I don't know that there's so many. Like, I have a Mermaid Oracle, but that's definitely, I'm thinking more like oceany. I don't know what I'm looking for. I have the I think it's a Blue Angel Oracle of the Mermaids. I don't know about the Oceanic Tarot. I'll have to look. I don't know. That's kind of just where my draw has been. I know there's a saltwater Oracle cards. Saltwater, it's like the Aboriginal saltwater. I have the Dream one. I know there's a saltwater one to that, but I looked at that and it just, image wise, it wasn't what I was looking for. So I don't know. I don't know. There's a new ocean. That won't probably help me for December, Christina, will it? Seawater reading cards. I'm going to just grab whatever and just Google link them, and then that way I can. Oh, the saltwater reading card. Yes, that was the one. Thank you, Soren and Hanaconda. Yeah. That's the one. And maybe that I have to look closer because I love the Dream one, the Dreamtime one. So that maybe that will do it. I have not read with seashells. I know that that is a thing. That sounds not right, but I do know about seashell reading, so maybe that's something that I'll look into, and maybe that will be it instead of an actual deck. I don't know. I'm just feeling the call to the sea, which I do a lot. Regarding grief, the ocean for me is very entangled up in imagery for grief for me, and so I guess that's probably why it's calling me for. Why it's calling me for December. Spirit animal wisdom. I did spot a deck I hadn't seen before, an animal one. Nikki's, I haven't seen that one. Yeah, I haven't seen that one either, Nikki. I'll have to take a look at it. Oops, I lost us. Kelly could read spilled spaghetti on the floor. Truthfully, that sounds interesting, right? Definitely. I always tease people that I could, give me M&Ms and I'll read it. But I think spilled spaghetti could be actually pretty cool. That would be very similar to charm casting or tea leaf reading or coffee ground reading, for sure. Hello, Mr. Elron. Mermaids and Dolphins by Jillian. I think I may have seen that. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of ocean. I don't know. I've got to look. There must be some ocean-y themed like powerfully oceany themed oracle decks out there. There must, it's the ocean. I feel like there must be something out there. I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you, Soren. I do feel, and I have not looked very deep. I just started looking before, and then Christina asked the question, which maybe reminded me of it. But the ones that I did see were kind of like, I guess that maybe that's the idea, that then you have to make your own, right? I don't know. I already have an Oracle deck to finish painting this in December. So yes, Margaret Peterson does have, maybe that's why I love her so much and why I use her so much in healing work, Elron. That's a really good point. Anyways, what time is it? We're a little, we have early, and this is my fault entirely. But we kind of got off theme a little early. We're like, apparently we're thankful for all the decks. We're not as thankful for all the lack of really good ocean decks, but we're thankful for the decks, apparently. My hair is driving me nuts. Can we just say, if I get through December without chopping all my hair off, I think we'll be so surprised. No, I'm not opposed to tarot decks, Nina. I've used both. Like I said, last year was the John Bauer. It's just generally they aren't traditional tarot decks. They tend to be something like the John Bauer or the Synchro deck is pretty much right away Smith. So it is sometimes tarot decks. So that is, yes, I'm sure it does, Elron. Hello. It's been a while since I've been able to. This is called growing out annoyance of a haircut. Oh, I'll have to see. I haven't seen it. I'm woefully behind on any kind of YouTube. I appreciate, yeah, if you can. I am up for any oceany suggestion, Oracle or tarot, although for some reason I'm really feeling strongly towards Oracle, but we'll see. But maybe like somebody was saying up here, Sea Whispers app. Does the Sea Whispers app, Holly, have a physical, not just, they have a physical version as well, maybe? I don't know. I'm scrolling back to see if I missed. What we were talking about before I sidetracked us is that I had the Dame Darcy Mermaid Tarot and sent it back to the person who had kind of wanted it back and had sent it back to them because I don't know, it didn't do it for me. I backed a creepy, disturbing, yet fascinating looking deck on Kickstarter. It was cheap, but not my stuff. Nikki's apparently confessing. I'm not sure. That was so cute, Nikki. I feel like that came out of, I'm sure it was in context. But when you missed the context, it was like Nikki's just randomly confessing to backing a creepy deck on Kickstarter. I think I have the Lucy Cavendish I don't like her artwork. Again, that is not, I don't mean it in that way. I think her artwork is phenomenal and I could not do it, but no, Lucy Cavendish, I must be thinking of the wrong one. I have that one. Who's the one? The one with the big eyes. I'm just not a fan of those decks because it's the art style that I don't particularly, doesn't appeal to me, although I could not do it, so I appreciate the art. But no, I have that one that you're talking about. Jasmine's back. That's what I know. That's the sword. Everybody loves them. So I appreciate her art. It just doesn't do it for me. So I thought that's what she was talking about. I do have that, and I've used it. I don't know. I'm not really looking for a mermaid deck. I'm looking for an ocean deck. But I do have that one, and I do enjoy it. Nikki, what did Nikki say? Lisa, I'm not too. There's a suit of fish, but it's not that watery. Yeah, Kickstarter probably would not get to me for December. But we were talking about things we're grateful for, and then I completely sidetracked us before we were even done with being grateful. Whispers of the Ocean. Okay, Patsy's looked it up. Okay. I'm with Soren on this one. I'm definitely with Soren. Let me try to Google what Patsy's trying to share here. Search Google. I'm just gonna have a bunch of I'm just gonna have a bunch of tabs up. You know, I did see that one. I did see that one, and truthfully, it's one of the it's one that is similar to a style that I generally go towards in December. They tend to feel. Oh, look at the octopus! Can I share a book and see if anybody has read this? Because I read part of it while being in the bookstore today. Let me see if I can find it and put a link to it. It's not called anything about the art of consciousness. I feel it was something like that. I'm not gonna be able to find it. It's about octopuses, octopi. And I thought if anybody works with octopus or octopi energy, and you know, this book sounded absolutely fantastic, and now I'm not going to find it. I'm gonna have to go back to the bookstore to figure out what it was called. It was really interesting. I read the back, I read part of the pieces of the book, and it was, I just thought it sounded amazing. There it is, The Soul of an Octopus. There it is. Okay, let me see if I can. I don't know how to get the short link. I'm sorry. For anybody who's tuning in, apparently we're going to be really all over the place, and that's okay. It's the holidays. It's the holiday season. Whenever I hit share anymore, I don't want browse. I want a link. And it gives me, no matter what, it gives me like an email. It's like I don't want to email. Nope, I don't want that. Oh well. It's called The Soul. I don't know how Nikki does it because she gets this shorter. I can't even see anybody's talking about it. You were all probably telling me what it was. This one right here. I don't know if this is going to work, but somebody let me know if that link works. It may not work. Somebody let me know if it works. But that that book is fascinating to me, and I think one that I'm gonna to read. I think maybe an octopus is what I'm going to work with for for December. You never know. Okay. Sea whispers, or so a couple people have said the sea whispers. Is this different than the whispers of the ocean? I'm kind of leaning a little bit towards the whispers of the ocean. The link works. Okay, yeah. That book sounds really interesting. I think I'm going to read that. Have you read that one, Whispers or Whale Song? By Miss Anna Teresa. Go clean your house. Go clean your house. Okay. Sea Whispers Oracle, says Jamie. Whoops. See, I'm trying to Google all these things just so I have tabs up so I can come back to it. Sea Whispers Oracle by Lynn Thurman. I'll have to look at that. Yeah. And see, I'm just sticking them up onto tabs so that I can go back and look. I appreciate your help, folks. Seashells of the seashore. Say that 7 times fast. Okay, I'll take a look. I'll take a look at that. Miss Nikki said that Oya's Girl Osset has a video up on the Whispers of the Ocean, because I'm kind of leaning towards that at the moment. Of the ones that I've seen, that's because I do tend to go with really supportive energy in December, so that might work well for me. Who knows? I'll let you know what I find out or what I end up deciding on. See what you did, Christina? This is what you did. You totally drove us off track. How easily, can we just talk about how easily we are sidetracked into decks when we're supposed to be talking about what we're thankful for? How quickly we divert ourselves into deck talking. Because that was a pretty fast like left turn. We're like, oh yeah, we're thankful for this and we're really thankful for that, and da 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 da. It's like hard left over here to talking about ocean decks. But yes, I agree with Patsy. We can look at it as I'm thankful for people who are willing to throw out a bunch of options for me for water decks. And Anaconda's thankful for rabbit trails that lead to deck shopping. I hear you. I hear you. I know. I just think it was funny that we're just like totally did a 360. I always say those wrong. Like, what is a 180 and a 360? What is, if you're going to go and can turn around and go in the complete other direction, do you say a 360? And I think a 180 would be taking a hard right or a hard left. I always misuse those. I know we just segued ourselves right out of our thankfulness. Whoops, and I just lost everybody. There we go. Okay, I'm thankful for the Art of Life Tarot. I think we've had probably close to a year. Maybe, I don't know. We've had quite a while with this deck as a community, and I'm actually really thankful for the Art of Life Tarot. I think it is maybe one of those underrated decks that you don't see a lot. Talked about a lot. It's a relatively cheap deck. And we've had almost a year, I think, of pulling our weekly cards with it. And I'm thankful for having this deck. Thank you, Jamie. A 360 is a complete circle, and you end up back where you started. Thank you. That makes sense. Everybody's shaking their head. I know. I am not. I just always say the wrong thing, so I appreciate the explanation. Sorry, Jamie. I feel like Jamie's rolling her eyes or shaking her head at me. So I just need to stick with 180 because that's usually what I mean, is going in the opposite direction. Okay, I love this deck. Yeah, I know. Me too, Nina. I think it's been a really lovely deck for us as a community here, and I'm thankful for it because I think we've had some interesting insights with it, and I quite enjoy it. So I'm thankful for this one. Something was on the chopping block. I don't know. I'm not sure what Soren's talking about. Ocean Oracle, what seashells reveal about our true nature. Oh, see, maybe I just need to look for like a shell oracle, like on Etsy or something that might have lots of different shells. I have actually a bunch of shells. Maybe I'll try that out. I have a bunch of my son collected shells himself. Like, he collected them everywhere we went. And one, I don't know, Mother's Day or my birthday or something, he had given me a bowl full of seashells, one really big seashell and then lots of seashells in it. And it's very precious. Obviously, I don't know if I want some of them. I have to look through them and see if I pull some of those out as some kind of an oracle. You never know. You never know. Whale Song says that there's several YouTube. I know, maybe octopi are calling out to me. who knows? Who knows? Well, I will let you know how it goes with the oceany things and seashells and octopi. Yeah, the tea leaf ones have gone in and out, Soren. I'm not sure which one. I'm not sure what Nikki and Soren are talking about. If this one is more pricey in Europe than it is here, I don't know if that's what they're talking about. I always thought of this as being a relatively cheap deck, but maybe it's not in outside of the U.S. That I am not sure of. Okay, so let's see what our card for the week is for, again, people in the U.S. This is a week of holidays, which again can be full of stress and joys. And a lot of people, I think that's just something that we should always be cognizant of, right? We should always be cognizant of the fact that high intense energy times like holidays can be so difficult for many different reasons, and that not everybody is going to be feeling at the same level of joy and excitement, and maybe going like this, because I'm tending like this, right? Holidays for me are, oh, I love the holidays. Oh, this is really, oh, I love the holidays. I'm a roller coaster. So, we just have to have a little grace for ourselves and have a little grace for other people. Nikki is still on it with I'm just going to open this in a new tab, I guess, so that Nikki is all over the ocean Oracle. Oh, sounds like a ton of cards. Kit with booking cards. How do they offer that on Kindle? That is kind of funny. I'll have to see if I can find something with a picture. Oh, it looks like just pictures of seashells. So I wonder if you could then just get the Kindle book and then find your own seashells to go with it. That would be a fun, project maybe. Cookie Day was actually fairly good because I had to teach at the beginning. And so by the time I got there, all of the baking was done. And so I just had to do the frosting and sprinkles. And the downside to that is all of the kids are pretty hyped up on sugar by that point, but it was still fun. It was still fun. Arwen did a video 2 years ago. Nikki is all over it. She's like a beast of linking. She has become the queen of links. I'm just going to open it up in a new tab, and I've got like a bunch of tabs to go back and look at. She is. We've got to. Can we all pause for a minute and be thankful for our moderators? Anna Teresa, I know, is already gone. Hannah Conda and Miss Nikki. I am thankful for moderators because it makes being able to ramble and chatter and talk and follow rabbit trails so much easier when I really don't have to worry about it. And I know that is a like a huge blessing, to just be able to talk and not have to hyper pay attention to what's going on. And so Miss Hannah Conda, Miss Nikki, Anna Teresa, other people who jump in and help. I don't know that I'd still be doing live chats, truthfully, without great moderators, because it can be quite a headache sometimes. So that is a huge thing I'm going to add thankfulness to, because, yeah, I really don't know that I'd still be doing it without that. So that's a joy. Hello, Laney. I am grateful for you. Oh, thank you so much. I am thankful that you take the time to say so. We're just going to go back into our thankful moment. We're just thankful for everybody. That's how I feel. Let's see. Yeah, and I do think, I don't care. People can call it mushy all they want. I am thankful for the community that we have. We are full of flawed human beings. The world is full of flawed human beings, but that we can, week after week after week after week for years now, over 4 years, now come together is really amazing. It's an amazing thing when we can be very different people and have different life experiences, different viewpoints, different ways of seeing the world, but that we can set aside time and just hang out and have lots of laughs, have some tears, have some shopping, and this last 6 months or so have talk about different topics that have been such a joy for me. So I am grateful for all of us. I really am. I think it's an amazing thing that should not really be held lightly, because it's not easy to have a bunch of people, because no matter what, we're all going to be different. We're all going to have different thoughts and opinions, and that we can do so in a way that's respectful is a joy to me. So now we're all mushy. Now we're all mushy for our thankfulness. Oh, thank you, Miss Anaconda. Who needs to go clubbing? Do people go clubbing on Sundays? I'm way too old and I've never been clubbing in my life. So I'm the wrong person to, I'm throwing chunks of cards. Apparently we are high energy. High energy here while I throw chunks of cards and try to read. Yeah, that is probably true, Nina. I will own the fact that people's bank accounts are probably not as thankful for me. I understand. I can understand that. I feel, though, I try to, in my mind, somewhere in my happy place, I try to believe that I do save some people some money on decks that they don't want to buy either. I hope there's a little bit of the other side in there too. But I think a lot of it's the latter, because I get too excited. Obviously, I mostly am showing decks that I'm excited about, and that gets people in trouble. Energy exchange, I know. Oh dear. Okay, let's pull this card for the week. Now that we've got all this grateful, loving energy into the card. Ooh, I'm going to take 2 cards. Actually, I got quite a bit. Oh, look at that. I got a really big. So I'm going to put these down. We're going to talk about what they are in a second. But let me just show you for a second here. For not everybody watches me, right? Or knows. When I split a deck, I shuffle, and then what I would say is like drop split. So I just kind of go like this. I mean, I'm trying to hold it up and do it so it's not as great, but I kind of shuffle it, and I just, oh no. Not quite the 78 card pickup, but there's a bunch of cards to pick up. Okay, we're gonna just keep going, and I'll pick those up in a minute. My point is I drop like this, and a lot of times this card that my fingers are on, really, I get a good zing off of this card. So when I do 3-card reading, that's the first card, this is the second card, and that's the third card. So that's how I do 3-card reading. I just got a big zing off of that one. Apparently I'm supercharged because I got cards like flown all over the place. Are we in a new moon or full moon or something? I think so. I think we're in a dark moon in Scorpio or something like that. Oh no, Isabel Louise. No. Okay, I saved it. I saved Sagittarius. That's my moon. I thought there was something in Scorpio coming, but I haven't looked. Sagittarius is my moon. Anyways, let's go back. I saved the card from Belle. So anyways, I got a big zing on this one, and why does this not surprise me? Because there is my lovely Queen of Swords. So the other card is the Knight of Swords. So we're going to count this one as our main card of the week because I got a high zing on it. So this is going to be our main, but we're going to look at the Knight as well. So let's read the quote. The Queen of Swords here is, be content with what you have. Thankfulness, gratefulness, which is what we've been talking about. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you, by Lao Tzu. So that is our quote, which I think goes with what we were talking about. This is what this deck has been so amazing about. I feel like it always is relative to our discussion. Of course, you know, when you're discussing somebody, you can take something, you can take anything that you need, and it can be relative to that, right? That's the whole key of synchronicity. That's the whole key of things like this, is that the way that our brains work, we can combine these symbols and they have something to say. But I feel like this does an extra good job of linking into our conversation. So let me read this again. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there's nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. So that's our quote about being. And what's interesting is that the Queen of Swords for me, and this is my significator card, it's one of my favorite cards in the deck. The Queen of Swords doesn't ignore the fact that there are difficulties in the world. In fact, I think she, as much more so probably than anybody, is aware of the difficulty and the hard things in life. But she actually gains her power from accepting the difficult experiences as well as the positive experiences, and simply being where she is. She's not trying to avoid the good emotions or the bad emotions. She simply is where she is, and she's taken those experiences, and that's where her power comes from, is from fully embracing all of the experiences that she's had up until that point. That's why I love the Queen of Swords. So anyways, there's that one. But I do want to just throw so I'm putting this one in as our main card in here, but this one did come up, so I do want to put it out here. This is the Knight of Swords. Of course, the knights are just running out hither and yon, right, all over the place, moving sometimes not as thoughtfully as they should. But I do love this quote, and Soren is going to have to help us on how to pronounce this person's last name. To dare is to lose one's footing momentarily. Not to dare is to lose oneself. And this is by Soren. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not. I don't think he's going to be able to. Nope. 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 It looks like Kierkegaard. I'm going to spell it. I'm going to spell it right here because I have no clue. I usually know who a lot of the people are. This is one of the first ones I've not. Oh, I hear somebody already, Jen's already knew it. To dare is to lose one's footing momentarily, not to dare is to lose thyself. That we do have to continue to move outward, right? Kierkegaard. See, this is it. We have two now. We have Kierkegaard and Kirk. Elrond, I would pronounce that Kirk like Captain Kirk. Nope. No, he's not. I'm not going to listen to Elrond, who is Israeli, not whatever Kierkegaard is. Kierkegaard. Nina says Kierkegaard with an H. Kierkegaard is what Jamie says. Anyways, figured people can figure out what that might be. But if somebody knows who he is, I would love to know a little bit about if he's an author or what he is. But I love this quote here for the Knight of Swords, Kierkegaard. Thank you, Nina. Morgan's like, I don't know what it is, but this is what I say. I say a lot of things, Morgan, but they are definitely not correct. Nina's like, no, it's not an H. I love it. And now you all can all have a little glimpse into why I mispronounce things. Thank you, Flamboyant Clairvoyant. He was a Danish philosopher in the 19th century. So there we go. But I like this. I like this quote because we do, in order to to really continue to move forward and find ourselves and we do have to risk movement. We have to risk losing our footing to be able to lose oneself. To gain oneself, we have to be willing to step forward. We can't just huddle in the bubble, right? We can, momentarily huddle in the bubble for our swords, but then we've got to get out there and be willing to risk. So that's nice. But that's nice, Knight of Swords. But for the week, I'm putting us to our Queen of Sorrows. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. And it doesn't mean that you're never going to strive. It just means where you are, this is where you are, and exist where you are at the moment. And you have everything that you need there, even though it doesn't feel like it. But as I said, I think the Queen of Swords is even more complicated than, in a good way, than this quote, in that she acknowledges the hardness as well as the good, easier times as well. Soren says that's where he got his name, this name from, or rather his middle name. That's awesome. Nina asks, oh my goodness. Nina asks, what is my favorite Queen of Swords card? That is a really good question. I don't know. I'm sitting here thinking, and I don't know. I do love the Queen of Swords from the Margaret Peterson. It's not a person per se, but that whole suit is full of set feathers. So I really love the Mother of Feathers. See, it's very oceany. I know it's water, but it's very air and oceany feeling for me. The emotions are high in the Queen of Swords. I think that people think the Queen of Swords is very cold, but I don't see the Queen of Swords that way. I love the clarity of the eye. I love the birds. I love all of the sky. But then I do feel a lot of emotions in looking at this particular card. So I do really love the Mother of Feathers and the Margaret Peterson. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Nothing is really jumping out at me. I do love, I don't know, I don't think I have that over here. It might be over on my desk. Let me look. I do like the Darkness of Light. Let me see if I can easily find it. But you know how it is when you're looking for something. That one came quickly, so maybe this one will come quickly. I do really love her. Because you feel the shadows in her, but then you have, and I know there's nudity, so some people wouldn't particularly like this card, but for me, the nudity in this is not about sexuality, but it is about, there's a vulnerability with the chest open and exposed. The heart is exposed in the Queen of Swords. So I really do find her to be quite powerful. Of a Queen of Swords. I really love this particular one. Oh, I do love the Chariot. Yeah, the Chariot in this deck is one of my all-time favorite chariots. Let's see if we can find it, because that's my birth card. So the Chariot is my birth card. Let's see if we can find it. I think that's what Nikki's talking about, is the Chariot in this deck. I just love this deck. I love the Six of Blades. Love the Two of Blades. Love the Nine of Coins. This is one of my favorite decks, and every time I flip through it like this, I say, yeah, of course it is, because I just love this deck. This one makes me cry all the time. Of course, now I think here it is. So this is the Chariot. I absolutely love this Chariot card. And again, that's my birth card. So I do pay attention to Chariot cards, and I don't generally like Chariot cards. So I love the Chariot card in this deck. She is beautiful. I do like her in the Ancient Italian as well. Yes, yes, that's a good one. Flamboyant, clairvoyant, and especially, let's see if I can quickly find her. It's so hard to find the cards because, well, it should be a little bit easier in this because it's pips, right? So I should have a bit of a Queen of Cups is beautiful as well. I do love the queens. I like the court cards in Moonchild Tarot as well. Let's see if I can find her. Queen of Coins. We got all the queens. Yes, here it is. And exactly what oh, sorry. Sorry. The deck that I was talking about was the Darkness of Light Tarot, and the deck that I was looking for right now is the Ancient Italian Tarot from Lo Scarabeo. It is a mix of the Soprafino majors and the Avando minors. Here's the Queen of Swords, and who brought this up that was such a good suggestion? Flamboyant, clairvoyant. And this is exactly what I love about this, is that she has her sword, but her hand is over her heart. Again, I think that Queen of Swords get a hard rap, that they are emotionless. And I think that Queen of Swords actually feel a great deal. And they have just learned to harness both the harsh realities of life and the wonderful realities of life, and be able to sit with, and those are sort of the seat of their power. So I love the fact that she's touching her heart there as well. So good call. Good call. Yes, exactly. 100% agree. I'll have to look up. I don't have that one out. Ostara I have put away for the season. So I'll have to look that one up. And see, I don't have that up there, but so those are a couple. I mean, I love Queen of Swords and probably a lot of decks more than I like Chariot cards. I very often am not a big fan of Chariot cards. So I'm always excited when I find one that I really love. Okay, so let's see. I'm sure I missed things with that dig for things. I have a total crush on the King of Wands. I don't know if she's talking about in Ancient Italian. I love the quartz in that deck. It's beautiful. Shadowscapes, Queen of Swords, Lena. Yes, I'm a huge fan of the Shadowscapes Queen of Swords. She's got the wonderful curved sword. She cuts outward and inward. I love that depiction of the Queen of Swords. I might be able to find that one. That is a beautiful Queen of Swords. We're just going to have a Queen of Swords moment here while we chit chat, and why not? She deserves a little bit of time in the sun. I think she's going to be the very last card. Pentacle. I like all the queens. I like the quartz in the Shadowscapes. High Priestess. Here she is. This is kind of hard one to see, but what I love about this is the curved sword, and I like the cool tones, but then there's also the warm tones there. So I really like, I do love that Queen of Swords. And I agree with somebody who had said all of the court cards in the Way Home Tarot. The Way Home Tarot for me has been definitely an unexpected joy. You know, there's always those decks that surprise us that we don't really think that we're going to love. In fact, I didn't purchase it at first until I was able to see all the cards when my friend Patrick had bought it for himself. So I was able to see all of the cards. and then I purchased it. It's been one of those surprise decks where I didn't expect to love it. But the court cards are all silhouettes. She's definitely a little colder though. I mean, you've got icicles hanging and the sword, but I do like the sword going from her mind, from the point of her mind and inward, which I do like that aspect of it. But this has definitely been one of those, if I would say for 2020, like surprise decks, this was definitely one of the decks I would say has surprised me. Which I didn't think I would like it because of the different styles of art that are in it, but I really enjoy it. I like the Queen of Swords from the Nicoletta Chicoli. That's the Chicoli, I think is how it says it, where she's eating an ice cream baby. Oh, no chance. I think I still have that deck. I'll have to look that one up. It's not out here. So yeah, I love a lot of the, I'm not too hard on my Queen of Swords. I like the Queen of Swords in the, I don't think that's over here because I'm using the Force of Enchantment. It's way over there. I'm using the Force of Enchantment for my class. And I like the Queen of Swords in that because she looks very Winter Queen. And I don't tend to like my Queen of Swords to look like cold and harsh. Intense, yes, but not like cold and like vacant. And she's definitely like the Queen of Winter feel to her, but I do quite love her as well. So I don't tend to dislike a whole lot of Queen of Swords unless they just look cruel or something like that, where it's just sort of an exaggerated cruelty or coldness about the Queen of Swords. That's generally the only thing that's going to make me like, oh no, I don't like that. Whale Song says, the Way Home Tarot is one of my top 5 decks. I really don't. Yeah, it was a surprise to me. Lily White, I think, is the one I'm probably eventually going to get. I haven't gotten either of them. What is the ugliest Queen of Swords? I don't, let's be honest. Like, I don't buy decks really that have, that I think are ugly because, I do like things to be aesthetically pleasing. So I can't think of, I can't picture the Queen of Swords in the John Bauer. I can't picture an ugly, one of my least favorite queens, is it the Empress or the Queen of Pentacles in the Anna Kay Tarot? She's not my favorite. Oh, Black Lily is another deck. Okay, I'm sorry, Lena. Okay, I'll have to look it up. There's one Queen of Swords that look like the Devil Queen in Snow White. It's not that I'm reluctant to say it. I just can't really think of what would be Queen of Cups. I can't really think of an ugly Queen of Swords. Generally, like I said, my problem with the Queen of Swords is normally that she looks too harsh or too cold. And I can't, at the top of my head, think of one. I'm trying to find the Queen of Swords in this one. Look, I love her. She's really beautiful. Yeah, you and me both, Nikki. Oh no, if you're talking about somebody else, I can't wait for that Darkwood Tarot. Has anybody seen that? I think it's on pre-order on Amazon, but it's not out. I think if it's the one Nikki's talking about, it's not out till June. I am definitely excited about that deck. Maybe by 2020. It's probably the only deck I'm really waiting for in 2020. New Era Elements Quartz are stunning. I just got put off of the deck by other images. Yeah, I don't have that one. she just put a link to something. Sasha Graham, I think, is the illustrator. Yep, that's the one. I cannot wait for that deck. I mean, is it not awesome? I think it's really awesome. It's like the grown-up version. It's like the grown-up woodsy version of the Dark Mansion Tarot. That's kind of what it feels like. That is high on my list for 2020. I can't really think of any other decks that I'm waiting for. I don't have any Kickstarters that are going to be coming in 2020. This year was the year of Kickstarters from the year before coming in for me, but I don't think I'm not currently backing any Kickstarters, so I really don't have anything I'm waiting for 2020 other than that one, for sure. Nina Black says the Star Tarot is being redone with larger artwork. That's certainly a deck that could use larger artwork for sure. You might be. I didn't. Yeah, I don't have a backing on that one. So Miss Integrative Healing. So I don't have a bone in that game, so to speak. So we probably don't want to jinx it for people who do. I love Force of Enchantment. I've been using that a lot again with my class. We're writing a story in the class, like a fairy tale for ourselves, and we're using like a deck as we go through the weeks. And I've been using Force of Enchantment and quite enjoying that one. And Light Seers I've really been enjoying as well to do as readers for readers for clients. I feel like the Light Seers has been a really great reader for me, and people really respond to the color palette of the Light Seers Tarot. I haven't seen the mass market edition. I do plan on getting it for my daughter, but I haven't picked it up yet. So I'll probably pick it up and do a comparison to the other one and then give it to her for Christmas. I love this Queen of Swords, and yes, I do. I don't think I have the Aquarian Tarot, but I have seen that, Holly, and I do think that's a beautiful Queen of Swords as well. I agree, Patsy. I did see somebody had gotten it. So I've seen pictures of it, but I haven't seen it in person. And it looked to me like the color is nice and vibrant like the original, which I think is part of the power of the deck. So I was glad to see that the mass market seemed to have that punch of saturation, which is really beautiful. So I'll definitely be doing a comparison so that people can see it, but I am going to be picking that up for my daughter. I haven't seen that one yet. I have the email, but I haven't downloaded it yet, Nikki. Are the border, the edges are not. I don't think you can get edges with that bright of saturation of color outside of an independent deck. Like I've never seen a mass market deck with colored edges. So no, you'd have to color them yourself. Melissa says, check out Wisdom. Personally, I think even her vibrant green borders, even for independent decks, like that was something new. I haven't seen something like that other than black or gold or silver. I've not seen like a vivid color like that. And it's held up really well. I've used my Light Seer quite a bit, riffle shuffling, and the edging has shown up as, has held up really well. Jamie says somebody on Instagram. I'm sure there are comparisons out there for sure. I just will still want to do it myself because why not? I like to talk about decks. Let's see. Can I check out Wisdom of the Four Winds Oracle? Okay. I am going to stick another tab up and I will take a look at it. I got literally a ton. Oh, that looks beautiful. Pricey pricey for sure. I'm not saying it's not worth it, but I'm just saying, looking at it, it's like, ouch, that's going to be, but the cards that I see so far are really beautiful. 50 wisdom cards, but a $90 50 card deck is going to be a bitter pill to swallow, although I don't know if that's US or not. I put on the Lenormand deck on accident, says Morgan. Nina has switched to Sharpie where you probably get that bold color. Yeah, I'm sure we can get the, oh, is it New Zealand? Thank you, Lissa. I'm like, I don't know. I'll have to see what that ends up being in the US, but that looks beautiful, but I'll look more closely at it when we're done chit-chatting. I'm looking for a great clear Lenormand. Like clear cards, like see-through, or clear like clarity. Clarity, maybe Lenormand is amazingly clear and beautiful and easy to get to mass market. That's one of my favorite Lenormands in general. Obviously my Lenormand, which I'm very excited. The minis are coming tomorrow. Well, the copy, so that I can start the pre-order, is coming tomorrow, and I have missed it. My space that I read at right now, I need a mini deck, so I haven't actually been able to use mine as much for anything that's Grand Tableau, so I'm really excited about the minis. But we are now taking a side trip. But I love the maybe Lenormand. I love the 1889 Lenormand for clarity. It is, you know, just beautiful and clear and just gorgeous from box to everything about the 1889 is a big favorite of mine. And I really love the Bluebird Lenormand. That could be maybe a little less clear in terms of images, but I think that I love the Anna Kay. That's a beautiful, beautiful Lenormand as well. But for somebody that's new, I think the maybe Lenormand is fantastic because it's very simple, clean images, and just take out the extra cards, just use. But then once you want to add and get sort of full fortune telling style deck, you can add all the cards in. So it's easy, it's accessibly easy, it's mass market, and I really do often point people in that direction when you're kind of new to going into Lenormand. I think it can be a very helpful one. So those would probably be my favorite clear. Bluebird, 1889, maybe Lenormand, and Anna Kay is one of my favorites, although it's a little busier than what I would say for just a clear Lenormand. Piatnik and French Cartomancy Lenormand decks are super cheap. Yeah. Yeah, my very first one was Piatnik. What class will be teaching next? Asked Nature Spirit Craft. I'm going to do something I haven't done in the last couple of years, which is try to map out all of my classes so that everybody knows what they are all year long and when they're coming. So I'm doing that in the first 2 weeks of December. So that will be out. But my first class will be Tarot in January. So yeah, I usually start with Tarot or Lenormand, and this year is starting with Tarot. Then the next one will probably be Lenormand. But anyways, I'm going to map them all out and put a schedule up, and that way people can be prepared for the classes. I'm also going to do a couple of advanced classes this year. Let's see. Thank you for asking, Nature Spirit. I appreciate it. Let's see. Yes, there's a nice little, Nina says there's a nice little book with the maybe. Agreed. That's why I really do often recommend the maybe for beginners. I think it is a nice, clean starter deck. Again, just take the first 36 cards, leave the other ones until you're ready to add them in, and you've got a really versatile deck by the time you're done with a full fortune telling card or just staying with the Lenormand. And it's got a nice little book that has just some clear information. So I'm a big fan of it. Do I do playing card classes? Yes, Miss Patsy, I do. Do you have the Gilded Reverie Lenormand? Yes. That's the Ciro Marchetti one, I believe. I'm gonna Google it just to make sure. Yes. I do use this sometimes for 9 cards. It's the size. For me, Lenormand decks should be playing card size or smaller. To do a grand tableau is just not really helpful when you have larger cards like that. But I do have the deck, and I do use it sometimes for 9 cards. So I do use larger. That's like this size. The Golden Lenormand is bigger, and I have the Lenormand. These two I use a lot for just doing a 9-card reading, but most of the time I like to use Lenormand decks that are playing card size. Whisper Lenormand is gorgeous. Yes, thank you, Bunny Kisses. That is an amazing, that's an amazing deck. That would be great for beginners as well. Thank you for bringing that up. Would you ever think about teaching Kipper? Yes. My problem with teaching Kipper is that I use Kipper very specifically, a very specific style of Kipper. So I'm not I've always kind of been back and forth of whether how helpful that would be to other people. But it's definitely something that I would consider. I have the Kipper ones that size. Yes, I do too. It's the main Kipper deck that I use. I can't advocate for mini size. Exactly, flamboyant. Exactly. I hear you. Okay, I'm sorry. I feel like I might have lost some questions. I think Morgan was talking about the Queen of Swords, who I've lost train of that. She'd cut off somebody's head or something like that. There are some harsh Queen of Swords out there. Thanks for the okay. Hello, Miss Molly. Kipper decks are harder to find, for sure. I mostly use Ciro Marchetti's, but I don't do a lot of grand tableaus. I have a couple other ones. I know of one that's coming out that I don't think has been announced, so I'm not going to say anything, but I know one is coming out that I have high hopes for. But Kipper, Kipper hasn't quite gotten to where Lenormand is, where we have a lot of different decks to pick from, and so I tend to mostly use Ciro Marchetti's for the way that I read the master method, and then if I'm doing a grand tableau with Kipper, then I tend to use the original deck, because I haven't quite found that Kipper deck that is like the love of my life. And so I still have hopes that we'll see more Kipper decks out there than we have right now. Molly says I need to try Kipper. I think I've built up Sibylla and Kipper in my head, and now, oh no, Kipper is, I wouldn't put Kipper in the same category as Sibylla. I kind of feel like it's like sort of Lenormand, Kipper, Sibylla being the most cheeky, and Kipper, I feel like I was going to compare it to Deste, and of course, if you haven't used Deste, there's just there's more people there, and so that's usually what throws people off with Kipper, is how there are a lot more people in Kipper. But it's if you like Lenormand, I really do feel like it's not too difficult to get in the mindset of Kipper. Really, if any of those types of fortune-telling decks like Sibylla, Kipper, Lenormand, you can throw a Deste in there. I can throw a Deste in there. Once you get a feel for them, it's not that they are the same, because they're not, but if you get kind of into the mindset of working with them, it's pretty easy to shift. Sibylla and Gypsy, that's a good comparison, Soren. Yeah, I don't really see Kipper the same as Sibylla energetically. There are more people in Sibylla than Lenormand, but Sibylla is different to me than Kipper or Lenormand. I think of Kipper and Lenormand being closer than to Sibylla, but everybody's different. uh, Oh, Sibylla says flamboyant clairvoyant is that friend who likes to make drama. I definitely agree. Yeah, Molly, I could see you with Sibylla. Sibylla to me is sassy. It's a little dramatic. Um, I don't know that I've ever read Sibylla for anybody else. I use it for myself a lot. It definitely calls me out a lot. It's just there's something extra sassy about Sibylla. I don't know what that means. Neighborhood arts. Are your tarot classes really meant for beginners? We definitely go through. You don't have to know anything about tarot to take my tarot classes for sure. Although this year we're doing a tarot class and then an advanced and then a Lenormand and then an advanced because of quite a few people who are obviously already taken the one really want, they know the meanings, they know sort of the basics, and so they, we want to dive a little bit deeper in, and so that's kind of how the setup's going to be this year for tarot, Lenormand, and I think runes I'm going to do an advanced class on. Yes, I figured Soren. Soren says he's not talking about the Gypsy Witch fortune cards. He's talking about Gypsy cards, which is different. So yes, thank you for putting that out there. Nina says, okay, the tarot wanted to use tarot, I think. Okay, I think I have answered. She had an older, larger deck that she got from an old woman. I'm not sure what Sherry's talking about. Sounds. Oh, her mom used to use Sibylla all the time. That's interesting. Okay, I'm just not going to keep looking back. If I miss something, please don't hesitate to ask. I know some people's eyes glaze over with with Kipper and Lenormand and fortune, what I would call fortune telling cards and playing cards, but it's a really a fantastic segment of fortune telling card decks like tarot and oracle, and I think it's definitely well worth diving into. Patsy says, do you use tea leaf cards? I have a tea leaf, the round tea leaf cards, which I do enjoy. I don't use them a lot because I tend to go to other style of I do lean the most towards Lenormand, and then I also use Kipper and Deste quite a bit. So those tend to be where I go for that style of reading, but I do like the round ones. And I have another set of tea leaf cards that I think was like an Etsy one that I haven't used a lot. So I do like the round tea leaf reading cards, but I don't use them a lot. They are that sort of symbolic language of what I think of as the older style fortune telling decks. But when I want that style, I'm going to go to Lenormand because that's kind of my bread and butter. So probably at least half of my reading business is Lenormand, and so that's just where I'm going to go first. But I do like them. There's an updated version of some cards. I'm not sure what Soren's talking about because I've missed the context there. I don't know if he's talking about the tea leaf cards. I've got the newer version. They were out of print for a while. When I had went to get them, they were out of print and then they came back into print. So I know I have a newer version of that. Yeah, I think I have a set of those Nature Spirit Craft. I'll have to pull them out and see what they are. Charm casting is amazing. Love, love, love charm casting. Hollow's friend is trying to beat Nikki for randomness and is saying that she is thankful for smooth cranberry sauce. I'm not a fan of cranberry sauce, certainly not lumpy cranberry sauce. My mom and dad are like the canned cranberry sauce. You just slice there just seems something so terrible about opening a can of cranberry sauce, if it's whatever it actually is, and you kind of like shake the can, you open it both ends and it comes out in a gloop, and then you like slice the the can. It's like, no, no, it's just, that just isn't food. Oh no, I love how, and she's just tossing it in there like, enough of this, we're going to talk about cranberry sauce. Maybe that's what I need to do, Gaming Terror. Do you have a recipe? Because maybe I need to make some real cranberry sauce and I might actually like it. Oh my goodness. But I've never been a fan of whatever stuff is this in the can. Oh, I love the Tao Oracle card. Yes, Tao Oracle is amazing. It's amazing because it feels like a complete system, because it is. It's based off of I Ching. So it's a whole system, and it's got the whole gamut of things to tap into, versus a lot of Oracle decks that do have sort of sometimes feel like a limited range on the keywords and things. With the Tao Oracle, it's one of my proponents for that deck is that because it is so beautifully done and the artwork is so beautiful, but because it is based on the I Ching, you do get a huge range, and so it makes for very in-depth readings that has a broader range, I think, than some Oracle cards. Jamie says it's really easy, just buy a bag of cranberries and the recipe is, oh, well, there you go. I can add water and actually, I love to cook. I'm not going to sell myself short. I could do a complicated recipe, but my point is that I didn't know that there would be a recipe for cranberry sauce on it. So I think I shall give it a try, but I don't even eat it, but maybe I'll like it. And my parents will be like, wow. Morgan is saying, you are saying Tao Oracle. My brain is hearing Dow Chemical. No, you're talking of the Tao Oracle, not Dow Chemical. I use it with I Ching coin cast as well. I mean, I think that it's fantastic for that. And I think that it also functions beautifully just as an Oracle deck, which I love about it. Because if I'm going to cast I Ching, I tend to just cast I Ching separately with an I Ching book. But I think it's an amazing resource for that. But I love that it can function beautifully as an Oracle based off of I Ching. It's one of my favorite decks because of how powerful the imagery is and how accessible. I just think it's beautiful. I love it. And again, the range there of topics and answers and things is so much broader than a lot of typical Oracle decks. Yeah, I agree, Mimi. It is a classic. I just think it's one of those decks that just, you should have it. If you like Oracle decks, you should just have it. It's just, it's a big one. At the restaurant, I once thought I was putting cranberry sauce on my plate and it was beets. Oh no, I'm not a fan of beets either. No, I'm not. Flamboyant Cranberry says homemade cranberry sauce is great and easy. Just use the recipe on the back of the Ocean Spray bag. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna bring it. Because I know they'll have the cans there, but I'm gonna surprise everybody and bring it and see if people like it even more than the canned nasty stuff. What is the most interesting thing that everybody has done divination with? That is a hard question. I feel like all divination is interesting. I feel like I've done so many things. Probably my wonderful bones from, let me see if I can grab them. I'll probably break something. I have yes and no bones that was sent to me for Embrace the Magical. And I prefer, they're similar. It's very exactly like using, playing cards to do yes and no questions by Crone's Bones. I just like the little containers, so I've kept them in there. But those are probably my most interesting. Although I wouldn't say this is the first time, because like I said, my sister-in-law is Mongolian. I remember a long time ago she had sent a set of, I think they would have been camel knuckle bones, which they use in Mongolia. So I have had those, but those are probably the weirdest thing I've probably done. But I know the container is awesome. Her whole packaging things are, you know, have a little scroll tied up in it, and so and they smell amazing now because I have my Kelly's Mojo spray on them, so they smell actually really good. But I do really enjoy them. They haven't left my table. So that's probably the most interesting thing, I guess. I mean, I've done a lot of different, I've definitely done a lot of different divination styles. I teach a lot of divination styles. So it's kind of like, I love them all, but that's probably the most interesting. Patsy's Mysticals, do you use pendulums? Yes, ma'am. I do use pendulums. I have quite a few of them of various different personality types. And I do enjoy using pendulums. I think I have a video on pendulums. I feel like I must. Dominoes, yeah, that's a good one. I didn't think of that. Dominoes and dice, to me, I guess I don't think of it as unusual. I love dice casting. I love that book on elemental dice. Let me see if I can find it on Amazon. I really do like that. Although I just tend to use numerology with dice casting. Obviously, I use dice for geomancy, and then I also use dice in my journey tokens. So I'm a big fan of using dice in divination. But I do quite like this elemental, I think it's called elemental dice divination. I don't know. That might get me there. Here it is. Yeah. I really like this. Right. Oops, I'm losing you. I can't find you again because I have so many tabs open. Control V. There you go. I like that book for dice divination. I know not everyone likes rune cards, but they can be so great to wear. Yes, I am definitely, Molly's talking about me. No, she's not. I'm just teasing. Miss Molly is not being mean. But I am not a huge fan of rune cards or OM cards, even though I spent years reading with OM cards. So I do understand the power of them. My mind has been changed with the Cosmic Whisper cards. There's a set of rune cards that I probably am going to pick up on Etsy as well. I'm just a big caster, right? I really enjoy casting. And so for me, runes and OMs and charm casting, that is a tactile casting, and the way that they land and the way that they intermingle and the way that they touch each other and create patterns is what I think the power of them are. And so it's hard for me, to be a proponent of rune decks, or even OM decks, even though I have a lot of OM decks. I only have one rune deck, or two, because one's out of print, but I don't use it. Because the casting is what I think is their power. So I'm definitely one of those that I'm like, I'm not a proponent, but I do think they have place. And I found that with the Cosmic Whispers. It was a birthday present. And I do use it a lot and love it. So I have to kind of like, I guess my point would be that if all of your experience of runes is through cards, then I would just recommend at least casting, for making yourself a little set, or buying a cheap, crystal set, and at least experiencing casting. That's all. They seem limiting in certain combinations impossible with the dice, but possible. Okay, I'm not sure what we're talking about there. I'm not going to dive in. Voice of the Trees is beautiful. Yeah. I've got that deck as well. I have a lot of OM decks, and I learned to read with OM deck. Well, I didn't. I had OMs and runes before I had the cards, but most of the late 90s, 2000s, I was using the Celtic Tree Oracle. So I've definitely they're there. I just feel like let's remember that the power is in the casting and at least try it. That's as far as I'm gonna go. Didn't see John Bauer chair behind you. Is it on vacation? No, I was looking for the Queen of Swords. It's right here. I was just looking for the Queen of Swords in it. Are there any good books on OMs? Yes. I don't know if I have them down here. I mean, I have a lot of books on OMs. I really love this book so much. This is called OM Weaving Word Wisdom by Erin Rowan Laurie. I really, really, really love this book. She does a really good job of noting sort of what we know historically, but also noting what is just her personal experience. Whereas I think a lot of OM and rune books are a lot based on people's experience, which is okay, but if it's stated as if it's fact, I think it gets problematic. And she does a really good job of this is how we know, this is what we know historically, or this is what we know as much as we can know, but then this is my experience with, and I think that she does a fantastic job of that. And I just love she has a great translation and explanation of I think it's in here. Now I'm saying that, but I'm pretty sure the Three Cauldrons. She has a great translation of the Three Cauldrons in here, which also makes this a fantastic book to have if you're interested in OM. So this is probably one of my absolute favorite of OM books. I do think that Paul Riss-Montfort's books are always great places to start. You tend to get a little bit more sometimes of folklore that's attached to the meanings. He does a great job of that in both his rune and his. It's not that there's no book probably that I would say obviously I agree with everything that they've written about it, but I do think it's a solid place. So these two, I think, are both a really solid place to have in your collection on runes, or I'm sorry, on OMs. Hopefully that answers your question good enough. Nina, this conversation is proof that divination is a lifelong. That's true. OMs, I've said this before, so I know people are gonna roll their eyes, but I OMs and runes, I started coding them into a mush that I played on, and that had to have been in the early 90s. So they have to be. That's probably some of my oldest uses of divination tools. Would be OMs and runes. So they're a big place in my heart. I'm scrolling up. I made a small casting set out of broken Native American necklace. It was made of glazed bone and cast. Beautiful. I mean, there's so many things that you can pick up and use for casting, right? It's amazing. Molly says, I think it's my love for sigils and sigil making that helps me in using rune cards. Yeah, it makes sense. Again, we talked about this in my rune class, which was before this class I'm teaching now. We talked about how, or I had to talk about how, for me, it's all, I don't want to lose the casting because I think it's so important. But at the same time, I have found a space in my heart for at least one rune deck. So we'll see. We'll see. I think the problem with books on runes and oracle or runes and OMs is there is a lot of misinformation out there, or a lot of information that's kind of being taught like it is historical. That's just stuff that has sort of been reiterated. A good example of that is like the blank I know Soren will have a conniption, right? The blank, the idea, the concept of a blank rune is a something that was manufactured, which is fine. It's okay for somebody to say, my set, I'm going to rearrange the runes, and I'm going to add an extra blank one for weird. But what happened was it was put as mostly as this is truth and versus this is my way of doing it. And then people just start to reiterate it as if it is truth. And then you just get a bunch of conglomerate mess, right? So I can't even entirely blame Ralph Bloom on it, because everybody else then was just pulling from that without doing their own research. So I think everybody holds the responsibility for researching better. But anyway, so I do think we have to be really mindful about picking good book sources for these older systems that are to some degree all reconstruction, because it can get kind of reiterating people's opinions as fact, and that's kind of dangerous. Anyways, so yeah, well, that's runes and gnomes. I'm not sure how we got there. I think somebody asked about the books, so apologize for running off. So I'm reading a good book I read recently, Lost Teaching of the Runes. Just in case somebody does ask. Shoot in a bucket. Shoot in a bucket. Okay, hold the line, folks. I just dumped Pop. All's well. It didn't get on anything important. But let me go grab a towel, please. So Nikki or somebody can hold down the fort. I'm sorry, Belle. Mom scared you. Sorry, I can't see anybody because I slid the thing. I know this is a good sign that I need to slow or recenter energy in some way. Tis the season, or I had too much sugar while frosting cookies yesterday. That could also be the problem. All right, I think that will just about do it. No, nothing did get ruined. Thankfully, my laptop's up on a stand, so that's not in any danger. It went underneath my scanner, but it didn't. Nothing is hurt. It's just going to have to make sure to wipe it with water too, so it won't be sticky. Klutziness. I know, I do. I love casting systems. So I know that would have been terrible, Hannah Khan. I don't even want to think about it, but no, it's up on a stand. So it would be hard pressed to get hit by anything. So, all right, disaster 2 averted. Oh my goodness. This is a sign to slow down and recenter. This is what happens when you start talking to me about divination, right? I get way too excited. I love divination. Oof. Anaconda decided to trim Terror of the She all the way down to just the images over the last hour, and she's in love. I think I've seen a Terror of the She trimmed down. I don't have that deck. I passed it on, but I think I've seen it trimmed, and it did look really fantastic. You could even read the Coke Zero spill. Maybe. I didn't leave it long enough to find. Oh, I still feel something under there. I feel something underneath here a little further. This is why you shouldn't have piles on your desk, right? I'm going to definitely have to come back with some water so that I don't end up with a sticky mess over here. But if you see my desk, you'll see I have a pile of things. I have tea and books over here. I know. Talking about divination ways of, I know, this just gets me too excited. Let's see. I just got the nerve to trim my crystal tarot to the images, and I love it. I'm using it much more now. I don't know the crystal tarot, I don't think. I need another, I know, or I just need to read. It's definitely time to do a pull everything out and clean it and refresh it. I think the whole place needs it energetically. Zoning in. A few books I read didn't use a blank rune, so I took it out. And I've talked about, I'm sorry, we're just going to take a small segue back to runes without me spilling anything. I have talked about this in my classes, that if some people, hello, Miss Scroot, some people, oh, do I know it? Oh, yeah, yes. Is that the one that's close to, it's got the Picard Miners? Yes. I wish it was bigger. It does. That is a beautiful, beautiful deck. Sorry, I'm clearly distractible now. I just want to say one more thing about the blank runes. Some people have grown their whole life and they've used the blank rune because it came in all the sets. The first set of runes that I ever had would have been mid-90s, had a blank rune in it. And so some people have used it their whole life, and there's nothing wrong with using a blank rune. I think as long as you understand it's not part of there's no blanks in an alphabet, right? That would be a space. That would be a space between the words. But some people have really, come to have a deep meaning to that particular rune. And you can even combine runes and make your own runes. You can totally make up new sigils and turn them into runes. We aren't restricted by the way things were. We can still continue to have conversations and to grow and to make new things. But I think we need to at least be aware of the historical basis as much as we can, and then use that to jump off of. So I don't think there's, as much as Soren and I especially may roll our eyes about the blank rune, it's because it was kind of taught as truth versus what it was. And so that's what is frustrating about it. But people have used it and it's taken on its own sense of power. And so putting in a blank rune that really resonates with you for weird or for chaos or for whatever the unknown, whatever you want it to be, is, do you, whatever works, and make new ones, make new symbols. It's all right. But then being careful how that knowledge is disseminated, I think, is more what my sticking point would be. So I want to make sure that that's clear. Anyways. Okay. I think I've made my point there. All right. I think this is a sign that I'm probably done talking. Let's do this deck again because I really want to try this one out again. This is one I had come in when I had this come in for live chat, Divine Animals Oracle, and I haven't really used it much since, and I need to do a walkthrough of it. But I want to try it out, so I'll keep trying it out. So let's just try it. Why not? We can do what we want today. And I think my brain is obviously shutting down. For some, it's like extra. Yeah, exactly, Nina. For there, a lot of decks nowadays come with like an extra card. The Prisma Visions tarot comes with extra cards. In each edition, it has a different one. Fountain Tarot has extra cards. The Majestic Earth Tarot comes with extra cards. Some people keep them in. Some people take them out. It just is personal preference. And so, that's the same thing with the blank rune. I don't think people need to feel bad about using it. Just that we don't teach it as history is the quibble here. Whoops, I got these all Whopper draws. Yes, I agree, Soren. Awareness is what is important, and not passing on misinformation. Not that I have a pet peeve about this in any way, shape, or form, right? I like Prism Tarot a lot due to those extra cards. Yes, some people like to use them, and some people do not. I go back and forth. Like I use the Fountain Tarot card, the Fountain card in the Fountain Tarot for a long time, but a lot of times I'll pull it out. I like the extra card a lot in it's over there, the Litha Tarot. I love the extra cards in that one, and I generally leave those in. Right now I'm playing with having the element cards in the Majestic Earth. Part of my problem with the like the element cards in the Majestic Earth is that for me the aces are the element cards. I'm sorry, I just walloped my microphone. That was probably loud if somebody had headphones on. I feel like we already have element cards in the aces, and so it almost feels like maybe it's repetitive, but I'm trying it out to see what it feels like. A lot of times I do not keep extra cards in tarot decks because I feel like the system is there and intact, but I do like to at least try them. So it just depends. It can yeah, it just depends on my mood, I guess. Also, when I'm doing readings for clients, I don't really like the extra cards as much because let's say I'm doing a year ahead reading for somebody, and so they're going to be spending time with their each of the cards throughout the year. And so if one of their cards comes up an extra card, I feel like they can't really sink into it, right? They can't like pull out all of the different versions that they might have of the Three of Pentacles because it's an extra card that doesn't have its basis. Oh, I'm throwing things all. This is definitely a sign I need to stop talking, right? I am like amped up energy here. So for client readings, I tend to not like the extra cards as much because I feel like they can't then take and set the reading out on their own table because they wouldn't have that card unless they had that exact deck. Does that make sense? Do folks use a significator card? Some decks come with an extra card. Generally, that's Oracle cards, and that tends to be more in cards that you'd read like you know, like the Rackham Oracle has significator cards, and I love it. Obviously, Kipper cards, Lenormand cards, you know, they have significator cards built in, and I love it. So those I do love. Tarot, of course, then it would depend on what card you choose as that. I'm a more the merrier type with extra cards, says Molly. Even when creators add in two of one particular card, like two lovers card, she just keeps them all in and lets them fall where they may. That makes sense. I mean, that's fun. I did add in the Majestic Earth Tarot, there is an Aurora card as well as a star card, and I've just put the Aurora card in because I feel like that has different connotations than the star card. So I'm playing around. I tend to play with it, and if it feels right, I keep them in. If it doesn't feel right, if it keeps coming up and it's annoying me, then I'll just take it out. James Fortune Real Tarot has an extra significator card in it, Soren says. Just don't add in the title cards. All right, let's pull some cards here because clearly I'm going to start like throwing cards around again. And I already have to remember to go pick those cards up that are on the floor. Okay, we have a cat card with intuition. Second card is the Lynx card with secrets. So intuition about secrets, looking deeper, something that's going on beneath the surface, and you might want to look a little bit deeper this week. If your cat senses are saying something's up here, and it doesn't have to be negative, remember. It does not have to be something that is a negative secret, but there could be something more going on beneath the surface. So don't just react to what's at the top, but dig a little deeper. And then the last card is interesting with the rhinoceros, which is about such tiny keywords. I'm going to do a walkthrough of this, but these keywords are so tiny that it's kind of ridiculous. I have my glasses on too. Moderation. So I love that we have, okay, look, our intuition should be helping us to know when we need to dig a little deeper. We should be paying attention, listening to our instinct, listening to our gut, so that we know when not to just take things as they seem, but go below that. But then the rhinoceros says, do all things in moderation, right? You don't want to be going through life constantly thinking, oh, there's something more going on, something more is happening, something's happening beneath the surface, they're trying to kill me, the government's after me, right? You can start to go into sort of a paranoia state if you're taking things too far and never just allowing, yourself to roll through life a little bit. So I quite like where it's kind of a message that says this week, pay attention to things going a little bit deeper than they might seem, but don't go so far into where you're kind of being paranoid and you're not just experiencing life. So it's that idea of balance in all things, right? Have a little bit of moderation here in what you're doing. So I do quite like that message there. Nina says another animal. It's a little bit different, Nina. I'll try. I'm so backed up. I've got to get doodle cards, spirit doodles. I've got to walk through that. I've got to do the walkthrough for the Divine Muses Oracle. Those are on my table. But this I will try to get to because it is different than the other animal decks in that it does tend to lean not just to the animal, but it's more like what does the interaction look like. I do think it's different, and I also think we found, I can't remember, I'll have to do the walkthrough and go through it again, but I think we found that it actually had quite a nice amount of balance in it, masculine and feminine ways, and I quite love that, obviously. So I'll try to get the walkthrough up of this a little bit quicker than I am lately want to do. But those are the next three. But first is Doodle. I'm almost done with that. And then I need to do the Divine Muses, and then I'll do the Divine Animals. So that's kind of the playlist ahead. Micro keywords for microscope. I know, but it's like I had my glasses on and I have to look really carefully, and I don't really like to struggle to look at things, but sometimes it can be worth it. Flamboyant says, great, like people need me to be more. Maybe that moderation one was for you to check it, right? That's possible. Okay, I don't see where I've maybe missed any specific questions, so I think I'm going to wrap this up. I have thrown a deck, dropped chunks of cards, spilled Coke Zero. I feel like it's time to end this before some real damage is done to something. So I'm going to put an end to this. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. If you are in the US or elsewhere and just decide to celebrate Thanksgiving and you are having a holiday weekend, I wish you a absolutely wonderful Thanksgiving. Remember to breathe, because holidays can get so hectic and families can get very annoying. So knowing when to step back and take a breath, super important. Having grace for yourself if holidays are difficult for you, having grace for other people that you might know that are probably having a difficult time with holidays. You know, sending them a quick note saying, I know this holiday is difficult and I'm thinking of you, I think is an amazing thing to do for people that you do know has lost somebody, or that the holidays just can stir up a lot of things. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to pry into their business. You don't have to go into anything in depth. Just, I know this can be a little rough for you and I'm thinking of you, is I think sufficient to let that person know that you know, that at least somebody is thinking about them and that could really help them in that time. So yeah, in terms of eating, just do whatever you want, right? Eat lots of pumpkin pie is what I'll be doing with frozen whipped cream. The key to an amazing pumpkin pie is freezing the whipped cream. Perfection. Okay, goodbye everybody. Have an absolutely wonderful rest of your week and I'll talk to you guys all later if I can end this properly.